Dr. Sophie Chandauka is finally getting her revenge on Meghan Markle. And trust me, the breakdown in the relationship between the Centre Barley charity and Prince Harry is as a direct result of the fake Duchess who did bully Dr. Sophie, who was jealous of Dr. Sophie.
Dr. Sophie Chandauka is stepping in strong, and it looks like she is ready to settle scores with Meghan Markle in a big way. The fallout between the Centre Barley charity and Prince Harry didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's being linked straight back to serious tension and claims that Meghan pushed things too far with Dr. Sophie. People are saying Sophie felt targeted, while Meghan saw her as a real threat, especially someone sharp, confident, and bold enough to speak truth directly to Harry about his image and reputation. From that angle, it gets even more intense. If someone like Dr. Sophie, who is smart, fearless, and speaks clearly, was willing to tell Harry that his public image was taking hits that could shake any relationship, and that kind of honesty can create serious pressure, especially when it touches both personal life and public status. Now here's the twist that has everyone talking. Harry has built a reputation for taking legal action left and right, going after critics and headlines, using the courts in very public battles. But now Dr. Sophie is flipping that same energy back, basically saying if that approach works for him, it works for her too. She's making it clear she never wanted to go down this road, calling this kind of legal drama stressful and draining for everyone involved. But she is not backing down either. A total waste of money, resources, and people's time. That's how this whole situation is being seen by some. But at the same time, you can understand why Dr. Sophie is stepping up and saying, "You tried to destroy my reputation, my life, and my career. I've got the proof, and now I'm coming back at you." That kind of response doesn't come out of nowhere. It builds up over time, and now it's hitting the surface in a big way. And honestly, that motivation makes sense to a lot of people. When someone feels pushed to the edge, they are going to respond. And this feels like one of those moments where things finally boil over. Watching it all unfold has people completely locked in, waiting to see what happens next, because the tension here is impossible to ignore. Now, this is where things really start to get intense. There's video footage that reportedly captured the first real crack between Meghan Markle and Dr. Sophie, and it has not been fully seen until now.
Dr. Sophie in her formal role. So Meghan berates and humiliates her, and then look at that look to Harry, like, oh, that stupid woman. And again, she looks to Harry and then glares at Dr. Sophie. What are you doing here?
People are calling it shocking, saying it shows the exact moment things shifted, and it is something everyone is suddenly paying attention to. Right after the news broke on Sky News, it exploded everywhere. The story hit the front page of the Daily Mirror almost instantly, and then the Centre Barley statement dropped right after, and the reaction was loud. As Sabra alone said, "Meow, meow." Now listen to this part carefully, because this is where it starts getting serious. The board and executive director trust. The statement made it clear that anyone who truly believes in Centre Barley's mission will understand why this legal move, even though difficult, was seen as necessary and important. They emphasized that supporters should continue standing with them as they push forward, staying focused on the real work ahead. And that work has always been about helping children and young people in Lesotho and Botswana. That has not changed for a second. They also made it very clear they will not be making further comments while legal proceedings are ongoing. This message came directly from the board of trustees and the executive director, showing a united front. At the same time, they highlighted the strength and determination of their teams on the ground, who have stayed focused despite intense and ongoing pressure, especially during a time when global aid is shrinking and the needs of vulnerable children across Southern Africa are rising fast. Then things got even more serious. The organization pointed out that their work supports around 78,000 young people, making their mission more critical than ever. They stressed that their resources should not be drained by dealing with damage caused by what they describe as a harmful media narrative affecting their partnerships and operations. According to them, this situation reached a point where it had to be stopped, and legal action became the only way to protect the charity and its future. They also addressed concerns about money, making it clear that the legal costs are being covered by external funding, with no charitable donations being used for this fight. Finally, they pushed back hard against what they called false claims spreading in the media, saying it has disrupted relationships with staff and partners and forced leadership to spend valuable time managing a reputational crisis they insist they did not create. And again, some people are saying that position sounds completely fair. But right away, Chris Shipp, who is often seen as very supportive of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, shared their response along with Mark Dyer, who is also involved in the legal situation. Their statement said they categorically reject these offensive and damaging claims, and they raised concerns about whether charity funds were being used to go after the very people who helped build the organization over nearly 2 decades. But here's where things get corrected fast. The claim about charitable money being used has already been pushed back on, with clear statements saying that is simply not happening. According to Dr. Sophie's side, the issue goes much deeper, and the belief is that the charity cannot fully move forward or focus on its mission until these accusations involving Harry and Meghan as well are properly addressed, possibly in court. Now, this is where the situation takes another sharp turn. A post from Meghan's mole started raising eyebrows, asking, did Meghan Markle upset someone at Hello Magazine? After full footage from the Centabale event was shared publicly. This video, which had not been widely available before, is now getting a lot of attention, and people are reacting strongly to what they believe it shows. Seeing the full clip has changed how some viewers interpret that moment on stage. What was once just a short, talked about incident now looks very different when viewed in full context. And it is sparking intense debate about how Dr. Sophie was treated during that event. The claims don't stop there. Some are saying Meghan didn't just clash with Dr. Sophie, but went out of her way to embarrass her publicly, while putting Prince Harry right in the middle of the tension. That's why people are being told to watch the footage closely, because every small detail is now being picked apart and discussed. And here's where the conversation gets even more heated. Critics are asking, if this is how Meghan acts when cameras are clearly on her, what could things have been like behind the scenes? That question is driving a lot of speculation, especially as more people start connecting this situation to wider online behavior linked to her supporters. The so-called Sussex squad is now being pulled into the spotlight too. Some voices online claim this group has crossed lines repeatedly, and they argue there have been many chances over the years for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to publicly distance themselves from extreme behavior, yet those calls have not fully settled the issue. It has turned into an ongoing debate that just refuses to fade away. Things become even more serious when specific accusations are mentioned. There are reports that certain media figures made highly controversial claims about Catherine, the Princess of Wales, which sparked backlash and outrage. At the same time, attention has turned to appearances and invitations connected to Meghan's events, raising more questions and adding even more layers to an already intense situation. And just when it seemed like it could not get any bigger, media voices started stepping in again. Matt Donnelly, a Variety reporter who had previously interviewed Meghan, added to the discussion after new details about her professional relationships began surfacing, pushing this story even further into the spotlight. When news of Dr. Sophie's lawsuit came out, things escalated fast. According to reports, a wave of online attacks suddenly hit the charity Prince Harry co-founded, and the timing raised a lot of eyebrows. One commentator even said, "Coincidentally, my mentions have been a cesspool of delusional Sussex supporters attacking my credibility, parents, sexual orientation, and more after a detailed report about Netflix projects and the couple's post-royal ventures." That reaction has only added more fuel to the wider debate. Critics argue that no matter who the target is, whether it is a journalist, a public figure, or someone connected to the charity, certain groups go straight for personal attacks instead of sticking to facts. It has become a major talking point, especially as discussions about accountability and online behavior continue to grow louder. And here's where the tension really sharpens. There are ongoing criticisms pointing out the contrast between public campaigns around online safety and the behavior of some supporters online. People are questioning whether enough has been done to clearly call out extreme conduct, and that question keeps coming back again and again. At the same time, there are strong opinions about the legal battle itself. Some still believe this kind of legal fight is draining and unnecessary, but others argue that after years of public disputes, it was almost inevitable. One view being pushed is that Harry has been involved in multiple legal conflicts before, so now facing one himself is being seen by some as a turning point. But the situation with Dr. Sophie adds a completely different layer. She is widely described as highly articulate, professional, and deeply committed to the charity's mission, keeping it moving even through difficult periods. And during past interviews, including one with Trevor Phillips, she openly spoke about the pressure surrounding the organization, even referring to what she called the Sussex machine, a phrase that has now come back into focus as this story continues to unfold. And don't forget, taking legal action like this is not something done lightly. For Dr. Sophie to move forward, she would need to be confident that she has solid proof to back everything up. During her appearance on Sky News, she didn't hold back, speaking about what she described as bullying and harassment, and making it clear she has the documentation to support her claims. Now think about how that could play out in court. Picture her in the witness box, calm, clear, and direct, laying everything out step by step. That alone has people talking, because if the evidence is as strong as suggested, it could turn into a very serious moment in this entire situation. And then there's the discovery phase, which could open the door to even more details coming out. People are already speculating about what kind of communications or records could be revealed if this moves forward fully. Past controversies involving private messages have already drawn attention, so the idea of more information surfacing is adding another layer of intrigue to the case. Lady Colin Campbell also weighed in with a sharp comment, writing, "Isn't it fascinating when the biter is bitten and the stinger stung?" That line alone has been widely shared as reactions continue to pour in. At the same time, broader claims about race, media coverage, and public perception are being debated again, showing just how complex and sensitive this entire situation has become. The argument being pushed here is intense and full of nonsense. Some are claiming that after using serious accusations in past disputes, Harry and Meghan believed those same tactics would work again, even against someone like Dr. Sophie, who is widely seen as highly educated, experienced, and confident in her field. But instead of backing down, she reportedly stood firm, refusing to give in or cover up anything connected to that tense polo match moment. And that's where things took a dramatic turn. According to this version of events, attempts to pressure her did not work the way they may have in other situations. Instead, the balance shifted, and rather than stepping aside, Dr. Sophie held her ground while Harry eventually stepped away from the role he once held within the charity. That outcome alone has people talking, because it flips the expected power dynamic completely. Now the situation has escalated even further. Legal action for defamation has entered the picture, with both Prince Harry and Mark Dyer being named, pushing this conflict into a much more serious arena. And when it comes to defamation cases, experience matters. And it's being pointed out that there is a long history of high-profile legal battles in similar areas, including major cases involving national newspapers. One example often mentioned is the dispute with the Daily Mirror, which ended in a settlement a few years ago, followed by major changes within the publication's leadership. Bringing that kind of history into the conversation only raises the stakes, making this latest legal fight feel even bigger and more unpredictable as it continues to unfold. I'll say this, it would not be surprising if this whole thing ends up settling before it ever reaches a courtroom. That tends to happen in cases like this, even when tensions are running high, but at the same time, people are openly saying it would be entertaining if it actually played out in court because of how much attention it's already getting. Some are even comparing it to past legal battles involving Prince Harry, which have been closely followed and heavily debated. There have been plenty of confusing moments and claims that critics say raised eyebrows. especially around timelines and statements connected to media disputes. And then come the dramatic comments that really stir reactions. One remark even joked, "Is that Nurse Ratched we see coming through the door? Or has Meghan finally been given her first starring role?" Lines like that show just how heated and theatrical the public conversation around this situation has become. And where this all heads next is what has everyone watching closely. Because if this actually pushes forward, it is not just about one moment or one disagreement anymore. It turns into a full breakdown of relationships, decisions, and everything that has been happening behind closed doors. What makes this even more intense is how many moving parts are involved. You have legal pressure, media attention, public opinion, and past history all colliding at once. And that combination can get unpredictable very fast. Every new detail that comes out is adding another layer, and people are analyzing every word, every move, and every response. At the center of it all, the big question remains. Does this situation get quietly resolved, or does it explode into something much bigger that pulls everything into the spotlight? Either way, the stakes are clearly rising, and this story is far from over. What really has people locked in right now is the pressure building on all sides, because the longer this situation drags out, the harder it becomes for anyone involved to stay quiet or avoid tough questions. Every silence starts to look suspicious, and every statement gets picked apart instantly. There's also a growing focus on credibility. Who can actually back up what they're saying, and who is just reacting to the noise? That's where things can shift fast, because if solid proof comes forward, it can completely change how this entire situation is viewed. At the same time, the public attention is not slowing down at all. Media outlets, online discussions, and insiders are all circling this story, waiting for the next big reveal. And with emotions already running high, even a small update could spark a massive reaction and push this into an even bigger showdown. Now the spotlight is getting even brighter, and the pressure is hitting a whole new level. Because once a situation like this reaches this stage, there is no easy way to step back without consequences. Every move from here on out is going to be watched, questioned, and judged in real time. What makes this even more intense is how quickly narratives can flip. One strong piece of evidence, one statement, or one unexpected reveal could shift public opinion overnight. And when that happens, it does not just affect headlines. It hits reputations, partnerships, and long-term plans in a big way. At the center of it all, there's a growing sense that something major is still waiting to come out. People are not just watching casually anymore, they are fully tuned in, expecting a turning point. And if that moment hits, it could change everything about how this entire situation is understood. The claim being pushed is clear: Dr. Sophie and the new leadership at Centibale are standing firm, saying the accusations made against them are simply not true. And from their point of view, this legal battle is not optional, it is necessary. Because if those claims are left hanging without a final decision, they could continue to damage the charity and everything it stands for. So now it comes down to one moment. Either a judge steps in and makes a ruling, or things get resolved behind the scenes through a settlement. And if that happens, people are already speculating it could involve financial compensation, legal costs being covered, and some form of acknowledgement about how this situation unfolded. Either way, the stakes are massive, and the outcome could leave a lasting mark on everyone involved. This is no longer just a disagreement, it has turned into something much bigger, with real consequences attached. If you made it this far, you already know this story is wild and still unfolding. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts, because this is one situation people are not going to stop talking about anytime soon.